No one in the city knew that the man sitting inside the black luxury car was a prince. To them, he was just another rich stranger trapped in traffic until fate forced him to stop. The car broke down in the middle of a crowded street where noise never slept and dreams rarely survived. The driver stepped out, frustrated. The guards scanned the area, and the prince, Adrian Albrecht, looked out of the window for the first time in weeks without boredom in his eyes. That's when he heard the song. It wasn't loud. It wasn't perfect. But it cut through the chaos like a confession whispered straight into his soul. Across the street, sitting on the cold pavement, was a girl with a worn-out guitar and tired eyes that held too much life for someone who owned so little. Her clothes were simple, her hands rough, but when she sang, time slowed down. People walked past her. Coins fell and rolled away. No one truly saw her. Except him. Adrian stepped out of the car, ignoring the guards' protests. Royalty had taught him how to rule, how to smile, how to hide, but no one had taught him how to breathe. And for the first time, he felt air in his lungs. She didn't look at him. She kept singing, as if the world had already disappointed her too many times to stop for one more stranger. When the song ended, Adrian clapped, softly, respectfully. She finally raised her eyes. For a moment, the world disappeared. Her gaze wasn't begging. It wasn't hopeful. It was honest. "Thank you," she said quietly, her accent rough but beautiful. "What's your name?" Adrian asked. She hesitated. "People don't keep names here, they take them." A smile touched his lips, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Then I'll call you Arya." She frowned. "That's not my name." "It suits you," he replied. The driver cleared his throat. "Sir, the car will take time." Adrian nodded but didn't look away from her. Instead, he placed a note, far more than she earned in a day, into her guitar case. Her expression changed instantly. Pride rose before gratitude. "I didn't sing for charity," she said. "I didn't listen for free," he answered gently. Something about him felt different, dangerous in a quiet way, not cruel, just powerful. From that day on, Adrian found excuses to pass that street. Every evening. Same time. Sometimes she sang, sometimes she just played. Sometimes she sat in silence, staring at the ground as if the city owed her answers. They spoke little, shared nothing personal. Yet something invisible tied them together. Adrian never told her who he was. Arya never asked. But love doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it waits, watching. And every night, when Adrian returned to his palace of gold and glass, one truth followed him like a shadow. The richest man in the city had fallen for a girl who owned nothing. And the world was about to punish her for it. Arya never talked about where she lived. Not because she was mysterious, but because home was a place she survived, not returned to. Each night after the street lights dimmed and the city grew careless, she packed her guitar and walked through alleys that smelled of alcohol, regret, and broken promises. Behind a rusted door lived the man she still called father, a title he no longer deserved. He waited for her money, like a debt collector waits for blood. "You're late," he slurred one night, eyes red, hands shaking. She placed the coins on the table without a word. "That's it," he snapped. "You think this feeds us?" "It's all I made," she replied quietly. His hand struck the wall inches from her face. "Then sing better." Arya didn't cry. She had learned long ago that tears only made him angrier. Meanwhile, across the city, Prince Adrian stood on a balcony overlooking lights that never cared who suffered beneath them. Advisors spoke of trade deals and royal appearances, but his mind was stuck on a girl with tired eyes and a song that followed him into sleep. Every evening, he went to her street. Every evening, his courage failed him. He wanted to tell her who he was. He wanted to tell her what she meant. But how do you confess love when your world can destroy hers with a single truth? So he watched, protected from a distance, loved in silence. Then one night, she wasn't there. No guitar. No song. No Arya. Adrian returned the next day, and the next. The street felt louder, crueler, empty. "Where's the girl who sings here?" he finally asked a shopkeeper. The man shrugged. "Gone, like most dreams around here." Something tightened in Adrian's chest. Days passed. No sign of her. Behind locked doors, Arya's life was collapsing. Her father's debts had grown heavier than his conscience. One evening, strangers came, men with smiles too sharp to be kind. They talked softly, placed cash on the table, and didn't look at Arya as a human being. "She's talented," one of them said. "She'll earn." Her father didn't argue. Arya screamed, begged, fought. But poverty doesn't listen to prayers. The car door slammed shut, sealing her fate. As the city lights blurred past, one thought burned inside her. "He'll come today, and I won't be there." Back on the street, Adrian stood where she used to sit, staring at the empty pavement like it might answer him. For the first time in his life, power meant nothing. He had a kingdom, but couldn't find one girl. And far away, in a world darker than night, Arya's voice was about to be stolen. One piece at a time. Arya learned very quickly that there were places even the night refused to look at. The building had no name. No windows. Just locked doors and quiet screams buried beneath loud music. They took her guitar first. Then they took her voice. "You'll do what you're told," a woman said coldly, adjusting her makeup in the mirror. "Or this gets worse." Arya stopped begging. She stopped asking why. She only focused on surviving the next minute. Men came and went like shadows, never faces, only footsteps and money exchanging hands. Each time the door closed, a piece of her disappeared. Not her body, her hope. Some nights she stared at the ceiling and imagined she was back on the street. The cold pavement, the passing strangers, the one man who listened. Adrian. She didn't know his name. Didn't know his world. But she remembered the way he looked at her, not like something broken, but like something rare. Across the city, Prince Adrian had started a quiet war. When his guards failed to find her, he stopped asking permission. He ordered investigations through channels the palace never acknowledged. Missing girls, underground markets, hotels that didn't advertise. Every lead ended in silence. Until one name appeared again and again. A luxury hotel hosting private international clients. The night Adrian walked into that hotel, he left his title at the door. No crown, no guards, just a man with money and fire in his eyes. The room was filled with men who spoke in low voices, bidding on lives as if they were art pieces. Adrian's jaw tightened, but he stayed calm. Then she walked in. Arya. Her eyes were empty now, her posture trained to obey. The light that once danced in her voice was barely breathing. Something inside Adrian broke. "Starting bid," the auctioneer announced. A talented girl, very obedient. The numbers rose. Adrian didn't hesitate. He raised his hand once. Silence fell. The amount he offered was enough to buy silence, loyalty, and danger. The men whispered. The auctioneer smiled nervously. No further bids. Sold. Arya didn't look up when they told her. She had learned hope was dangerous. Until she heard his voice. "Look at me." Her head lifted slowly. Time collapsed. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't move. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I should have come sooner," he replied. He didn't touch her. Didn't claim her. He only said one sentence that no one had ever said to her before. "You're safe now." But freedom is terrifying to someone who has been owned. And Arya didn't know yet that this rescue would test her heart more than captivity ever did. Arya woke up in a room that didn't feel real. Soft light. Clean sheets. Silence that didn't threaten her. She sat up suddenly, fear flooding her chest. Her eyes searched for locks, cameras, guards, but there were none. just a door's slightly open. Adrian stood outside, giving her space. "You're free," he said calmly. "The door stays open." Free. The word felt heavier than chains. "I don't belong here," Arya whispered, stepping back. "I know what you paid for me." Adrian's expression didn't change. "I didn't buy you," he said. "I bought your freedom." She laughed bitterly. "There's no difference." He walked to the window and pulled the curtains open. The city stretched endlessly below them. "I am Prince Adrian Albrecht," he said quietly. The truth landed like thunder. Arya's knees weakened. "A prince," she breathed. "Yes," he turned to her, "and I failed you by being afraid." Tears slipped down her face. "Then why save me?" "Because loving you in silence became unbearable." She shook her head violently. "You deserve someone untouched, someone whole." Adrian stepped closer, but still didn't touch her. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "What was taken from you was never your worth." Her hands trembled. "I'm broken." "No," he replied. "You were broken into." Then slowly, he went down on one knee. "Not to claim her. Not to trap her. I won't ask you to stay," he said. "I won't ask you to love me. My doors will always be open, but your life will always be your choice." He placed a ring on the table, not in her hand. "If one day you come back," he continued, "it will be because you want to, not because you owe me." Arya's heart pounded painfully. She took a step back, then another. Fear screamed louder than love. "I need to go," she said, her voice breaking. Adrian nodded. "Then go." She walked to the door. Paused. No chains. No guards. No conditions. She took a few steps down the hallway, then suddenly turned around and ran. Ran back to the room. Ran into his arms. For the first time, Adrian held her, not as a prince, not as a savior, but as a man who had waited too long. And in that embrace, Arya realized something terrifying and beautiful. Freedom had led her back to love. Love did not make Arya fearless. It made her aware. The palace was beautiful, but beauty had always lied to her before. Every hallway echoed with whispers she pretended not to hear. She doesn't belong here. She was bought. She's a mistake. Adrian tried to protect her, but some battles cannot be fought with guards and crowns. Arya began therapy quietly, relearning how to exist without flinching. Some days she smiled. Some days she couldn't get out of bed. Adrian never rushed her. "I'm not healing you," he told her once. "I'm walking with you." But the world wasn't patient. The council demanded explanations. The press demanded answers. The kingdom demanded perfection. A woman with a past didn't fit the future they wanted for their prince. Arya overheard a meeting she was never meant to hear. "She will ruin the monarchy," one voice said. "She is a liability," said another. That night, Arya packed her bags. "I won't be the reason you lose everything," she said softly. Adrian stood frozen. "You are not the problem." "But I am the excuse," she replied. She left before dawn. Days passed without her. The palace felt empty again. Then Adrian did something no prince had ever done before. He called a public address. "I will not hide my love," he said to the world. "If my crown requires me to abandon the broken, then it is not a crown worth wearing." The kingdom erupted. And somewhere in a quiet town, Arya heard his words and cried like she hadn't in years. Because for the first time, love wasn't asking her to disappear. It was asking her to stand. Arya watched the prince's speech on a small screen in a silent cafe. Every word felt like a wound reopening and healing at the same time. "If my crown requires me to abandon the broken, then it is not a crown worth wearing." People stared at the screen. Some mocked him, some admired him. But Arya only saw one thing, a man ready to lose everything for her. And that terrified her. She had spent her life being the cost of other people's sins. She refused to become the cost of his. That night, she wrote a letter. "Adrian, You saved my life, but I won't let my past destroy yours. Love shouldn't demand sacrifice from only one side. She returned to the city, but not to the palace. Instead, she stood outside the royal gates with shaking hands and steady eyes. When Adrian saw her, relief nearly broke him. I came to say goodbye, she said. He shook his head. Then I won't let you. She took a deep breath. If you choose me, the crown will never stop bleeding. If you choose the crown, I will disappear again. Adrian looked at the palace behind him. Centuries of tradition. Power. Expectation. Then he stepped forward, away from it. I choose you, he said simply. The gates closed behind him. Gasps echoed, cameras flashed, history cracked open. Adrian Albrecht renounced his claim to the throne. No speeches. No drama. Just love. Arya fell to her knees, sobbing. I never wanted this. He lifted her face gently. Then let me want it for both of us. In that moment, the world lost a prince. And love gained a man. The city was waking up, unaware that history had quietly changed. Adrian and Arya walked hand in hand through streets that once tried to break her. Every step was a claim on life, a statement that she was no longer anyone's property but her own. She paused by the corner where she had first sung, where he had first watched her. I can't believe I'm here, she whispered. You were always meant to be, Adrian replied, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I just had to remind the world and myself that nothing is worth more than you. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Arya rebuilt her life with Adrian by her side, laughter replacing fear, music returning to her voice. He never pressured her. He never demanded more than she could give. Love, she realized, was patient, respectful, and protective. One evening, under a sky painted with stars, Adrian knelt for the second time. This time, there were no words about freedom, only forever. Will you marry me? He asked, voice trembling with hope. Arya's heart raced. I'm yours, she said, finally allowing herself to believe that she was worthy of love, happiness, and a future unshackled from the past. The wedding was simple but perfect. No palace extravagance, no expectation, just the two of them choosing each other every day. Her past no longer haunted her. It was a story of survival that made her stronger, wiser, and more alive. And in the quiet moments, when the world tried to whisper doubt, Adrian's words reminded her. My doors will always be open. My arms, my heart, always yours. You are free to come, to stay, and to love, and I will choose you every single day. Arya smiled, finally at peace. Love had not only saved her, it had given her the courage to claim her life. Together, they ran toward a future where the shadows of yesterday could never reach them again.